I want to start by taking a look at this playtest from one of our family members. And I haven't gotten the chance to disseminate all of these things into our Trello board. So I'm going to see if I can make sense of them. There's not too many. There's about 74 of them there. Let me see if everything's working here. Happy Saturday, everyone. Themes. Okay. Some things are not working. Let me make sure my YouTube stream is working real quick. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Okay, let me check on my YouTube, make sure that that's actually streaming. All right, yeah, it seems I'm live on YouTube. Very good. Pause this stream. Okay. All right. So let's see what we got here. I'm just gonna look at each of these list items and try to just figure out where they go, who I need to assign them to, what list I need to put them into. And sometimes maybe things, if something's not worth, I think, pursuing, then I'll just delete it right there. Okay. And these are things that we, Jacqueline and I, we watched him play, and we wrote down many notes. So let's take a look here. Okay, wants left joystick press to switch to uppercase during naming. All right, I'm gonna put that. So that's a console thing. So this is the virtual keyboard. Let's just call it left joystick press should switch to uppercase during naming. And I'm gonna call it, I'm just gonna say should be a toggle, not say will. Told us this is standard console convention. So he plays a lot of console games, so we trust him on this. This should be a toggle, not a hold. Save. And I'm going to give that to Jenny. Put it at the bottom of her list here. Okay, there we go. I'm going to press Q. Q is cool because it shows the total amount of cards. So I have 110 cards in my list. 110 to do items. Beautiful. And then I'm just gonna leave it. It'd be nice to know which ones I've kind of checked off here. I usually delete them, but Jacqueline told me it's not a good idea because sometimes looking at the order of the bugs can give us a hint when something happened. Let me mute this for a second. I'm not getting any chat messages. Let me make sure that's working. It's possible just nobody's chatting, which is fine, but I want to make sure that's working. I'm gonna send a test message. Make sure. Okay, it's working. Cool. All right, so we'll move on. Okay, skin features cannot be seen. Yeah, we need to remove a couple of the sliders, I think, like eye shape. I'm gonna give a card to Jacqueline on this. I'm gonna say, are there appearance sliders that ought to be removed? Like eye shape. We're never gonna do that one, right? Save, and then I'll go ahead and add her to the card. Oh, she's already, okay, it's already on because we put it in her list. Perfect. Okay. Next, need to confirm question button when player clicks Okay on character creator. Oh, need to confirm question. Oh, I see. Yeah. It's kind of tricky. Right now, when you press confirm on the character creator, it just like, it just instantly confirms. And he was saying that, well, someone could accidentally press it, but also someone might want to click cancel and then not make the changes to their player. I'm going to wait on that one. Sometimes if something's like on the fence, like maybe we should do that, but I don't think it's pretty low priority right now. Then I don't even put it anywhere, which can feel kind of bad because it's like feedback that just kind of went into the nether. But the thing is, if something is important enough, you'll see it again. So I'll just wait until we get that feedback again. And then if we get testers or even once the demo's out, people are complaining about it, then, now, okay, we've heard it second, third time. Now we'll come back to it, actually make a card out of it and assign it to someone. Hey, Alsen, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. I'm starting by, I've got this list of feedback. We actually watched Jacqueline, my wife, and she's the lead designer of the game. We watched one of her siblings play the game, and we just were writing down all the things we saw. So I'm just trying to organize all this feedback into assignments, little Trello cards that I can give to the correct person. This is a question. He ate a raw mussel. We just thought it was kind of weird that he just ate a raw mussel, but I guess that's probably fine that you can do that. I'm going to leave that. Music cue for meeting headmistress. All right. Never anticipated it would be silent. So we have this problem with looping. The tracks don't loop, and we've actually had a ton of bug reports about that. People actually think it's a bug. They're just like, the music stopped. Shouldn't, like, apparently, I guess it just sounds strange enough to them that they feel like that's wrong. So I'm just wondering how we should address that. If we should actually loop the music. I think we do need a music looping feature where like it'll loop until the next cue. But I don't know how that will work for high priority tracks. Because a high priority track will not be overwritten by anything except a high priority track. I don't actually know how that will work. I wonder if I should just test it. So I'm going to look at the start of the game. I don't even know where this is. I think it's in start settings, actually. The mechanism that actually plays that track, I think, is part of the start settings. And I'm going to check out what kind of function call it's using to actually play it. And I'm going to see if I can just pass in a loop argument. And then I guess just see what happens. It kind of sucks because I'll have to wait like 3 minutes for the track to finish. Let's go music manager. Here it is. So here's, we request the theme, and then we block all music changes for 180 seconds. Interesting. So can we request the theme with a loop? Do we even want to loop that track? I guess we do. I think we do. I think we want to loop that track. The only thing is I just want to see how it works. Let's go ahead and check out this file. Still not able to see how many people are watching. It's telling me 0 people is watching. I don't think that's true though. Let me bring up my other things here. Oops. Sorry folks. Figuring this thing out over here. I want to make sure everything's actually working. Streaming with Restream is so much less enjoyable than just streaming directly to the platform. It appears that nobody... Oh, I guess nobody's watching on YouTube. Is that true? No, okay, there are some people. All right, that's weird. Well, whatever. Ignore that. Okay. Scott Chateau, thank you. Hello, and thank you for letting me know. Okay, good to know that somebody's here. Okay, so I'm just gonna check. So we've got high priority. Interesting. By default is true. I guess we will just want to do the default argument. That's what it was doing before. And we don't bypass the block change timer. And then I'm just gonna try to loop it and I want to see what happens. That does mean we'll have to wait out. We'll have to wait out the track. So it's just compiling. I'm just giving it a second here. I don't know of another reliable way. I mean, we can't change the timescale because the timescale doesn't have anything to do with how fast the music plays. So it might be just a boring wait. And by the time I concoct some way to make the track play faster to test, I'm sure I could have just done it already and just waited the track out. Let me see how long the track is, Adventure 1. So for anyone new to the stream, I noticed that we got lots of bug reports for music not looping, which isn't actually a bug. That's just kind of how we designed it. And so now I'm just considering actually looping some of the tracks. I mean, we do have looping tracks in the game, but generally if a track is queued like manually from an actual beat in the game, in this case the beat is literally just the game starts and it starts a track, those tracks never loop. They just play once. And that kind of made sense to us because like obviously the moment is gone. That whatever the moment was that triggered that is gone. But it does sound a little weird. Like when you start the game and you have this kind of high energy track and then you're just getting going and you're like 4 minutes into the game and then the track is done. And I personally never experienced that because I never like, dawdle around for 4 minutes. Because whenever I'm testing the game, I'm kind of down to business, right? I just do the next thing. Okay, anyhow, this track's 3.5 minutes long. All right, well, let's just launch the game and see what happens when we loop the track. And then I'm going to continue with the game and make sure that everything is working as intended. So I guess I'll have like a 3.5 minute Q&A session. I don't know why. Changing the character, completely unnecessary. Okay.
In the beginning, the universe hummed a long single note.
Okay. I'm skipping the intro. The music didn't play at all. So that's strange. Something about changing that call. It's so weird because I put in the default arguments. Why would that have changed anything? So high priority is true. Yeah, I put in all the default arguments. The only thing I changed was that loop was turned true. So let me just copy that line of code and I'm just going to remove that stuff. I'm going to comment it out. That should just be how we had it before. And then we're going to compile and try testing it again.
In the beginning, the universe hummed.
Oh, you know what? I may just have the music settings off because it doesn't make any sense that it's not playing right now. The game just might be. There we go. Okay. Let's try it again with our other line of code now that we've changed the music settings. Oops. And I just want to see if that track loops. And while that track is playing, no, there aren't that many people here yet. Actually, I have no idea how many people are here because my restream just tells me 0 people. We might do like an impromptu Q&A, I guess, because I'll just be sitting around here for 3.5 minutes. Maybe I can try to disseminate some bugs or something. All right, compiling there.
In the beginning, the universe hummed.
Cool. Okay, so now I just need to wait out this track. I really want to put stuff on this ship too. Got a lot of work to do. This first shot is really bad. Not happy with it. Just like a very ugly shot to start the game on. I'll talk to this statue and do a little bit of stuff, then we'll go right up to the forest path. Let me just bang through this conversation. Okay, now I'll just walk up to the forest path and wait out the track. Paulson says, I don't mind when it goes quiet too because ambient sound. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the game needs to... game should be quiet sometimes. But, a lot of people were reporting when... a lot of people, like I had at least 5 bug reports that people said the music's not looping. And, typically when people report a bug, you know, it's not always important. It's not actually a bug, but it's not really important. What's important is that people thought it was weird enough. People thought it was broken, so they reported it. And I do think it's strange in the beginning of the game, when you just first start and then the music goes quiet. It is a little weird. But like there are some parts of the game where it's actually scheduled to not play any music. Like if it rains, it actually doesn't play music, and then at night I think there's like a 50% chance that it'll play silence, or it'll play like a really ambient track that is like almost nothing. I'll just wait out this track. And we can hear Phoenix's lovely music. This track, actually, Phoenix wants to have another crack at. Not 100% sold on it. We weren't either when we first put it in. We first got it from Phoenix. But it's grown on me a little bit. I mean, I like the track. I just don't know necessarily for the beginning of the game. It is kind of energetic, and it has like this part. There's like this sort of like Dorian. Those like Dorian chords right there, or that Dorian melody over that chord progression. I really like that. But then the other part that it starts on sounds almost a little bit like military-ish. Here it's gonna restart. Let's see if it restarts. Not promising. It's weird. It's weird that it didn't restart, so let me see. It definitely compiled, and I told it to loop, but it just not looping. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not looping. Let's talk to Headmistress, and I bet everything else is working fine. Is all looping in the game broken? I wonder. Yeah, it can be hard to manage. Most of the time, I think most feedback is not, doesn't really mess with our like vision for the game. Most feedback is like just kind of cut and dry, like it's just quality of life stuff. But every once in a while we get one thing that we know for a fact is coming is romance. We're just gonna have threads and threads and threads of people saying, why can't I bone anyone? I want to bone people. Please, why are you doing this to us? But we are not going to put romance in the game. We're just not. It's just not something we want to do. And especially Jacqueline does not want that. Her vision for the project is there's not going to be any romance lines. At least there's not going to be dateable characters. We don't want to put time into it. We don't want to put energy into it. We don't want to compromise other parts of the game because we're spending time on that, and that is going to make people insane. I'm certain of it, but it's okay. Okay, so the music's working fine. The checking the loop didn't do anything, but it also didn't loop, so I don't really know what to make of that. Hey Grace, welcome. Thanks for dropping by the stream. What is that little emoji there? Like, is it a pirate? Is it a green pirate? Ahoy, it says. Okay, gotcha. Alson asks, what's it like working with Phoenix? Do you sort of have a melody or tune in mind for him for parts or the game? Or you convey the vibe you want? Something else? Yeah. The Eastshade was really easy. I just showed him screenshots of the game before we even had anything playable, and he started writing. I gave Phoenix basically no direction on Eastshade. And then we would have these meetings. He lives in Portland, we live in Seattle, and well, not in Seattle, but near Seattle. And so we don't live too far from each other. We're about 3 hours away from each other, and every like 8 months he would come up to us and stay at our house, and then Phoenix is a childhood friend of mine, so this isn't weird or anything. And we would just play through the game, play through what we have, and we would drop in the tracks together and feel it out and feel like, oh, that track would go well there, that track would go well there. We don't usually have like precise, we need this kind of track for this moment. Sometimes we do, but usually he just writes tracks and we kind of figure out where they go. For Glimmerwick, it was actually a lot harder. In the beginning, we didn't really know what we wanted for the music. We didn't know if we wanted to go more in like a gamier direction, like more like Animal Crossing or something, or more in like a score, like an East Shady direction. We ended up very much going in the East Shady direction. It's kind of what I wanted from the beginning. But Jacqueline didn't quite know if that was going to be the right play. And I definitely think it was. But now he kind of understands exactly what the game wants. So now we don't really give him direction. Every once in a while, we'll use a temp track or like a placeholder track of like, this track could work. But as the production goes on, we rely less and less on those. It's my pirate, says Grace. Okay, rock on. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing your reports and your feedback form. Okay. So I don't know why the track is not looping, but I'm just gonna make that as a card for myself here. I'm just gonna put people are reporting bugs when tracks don't loop. Starting music doesn't loop even if I set loop to true. Okay. Yeah, well, I think that the best soundtracks, I think a lot of times when the composer understands so well what the thing is, you know, and also when they're free to kind of imbue their own vision for it. I mean, that's kind of the way I think about it. Like, we want Phoenix to sort of direct the sound kind of as much as we do, I guess. So it makes sense. Like, if he writes a piece that is a perfect match, it's not necessarily because like we told him exactly what we needed that would be a perfect match. It's because he sort of felt, you know, he felt the vision, and he had his own sort of vision on what would make it perfect, and he made it happen. You had an E-Shade track as one of your alarms. That's awesome. Yeah, the E-Shade soundtrack has remarkable endurance. Like, it doesn't grate at all. We always get on him toward the end of production for, this seems to happen every time. We always ask for more Dorian tracks. Dorian is a mode. It happens to be a mode that a lot of like fantasy music is written in. It doesn't necessarily sound major. It doesn't necessarily sound minor. It's like, to me, it's like the sound of adventure. And I feel like tracks that are written in Dorian have really good durability. Like, they don't grate very well. They also pretty much match everything in a fantasy RPG. Like, you could be doing anything. You could be talking to people in town. You could be going on some epic quest, and the Dorian tracks seem to always kind of work. That's the mode that a lot of Elder Scrolls music is written in as well. So toward the end, we seem to always end up being like, we need a few more Dorian tracks because we got to fill in this area and fill in this area with music, and we just feel that a Dorian track is going to be what works. But he likes writing Dorian tracks, so it's good. I hope so. Yeah, I think he does. He gets really excited with us, so. And we get really excited. I don't think there's anything more exciting than when we get a fresh batch of music from Phoenix. That always pumps us up. Like, we always work so hard after we get a fresh batch of music from Phoenix because we're so excited about the game after that. It's like the best. It's like Christmas, I feel like. Actually, it legitimately feels like Christmas. Like, that's that excitement that I felt as a kid where I'm like so excited to like open my presents. That is what I feel when Phoenix is coming up with a batch of tracks, and he never sends them to us. This is a kind of weird ritual we have with Phoenix where he doesn't send us the tracks while he's working on them. He just like goes to the lab. I don't even see this guy for like 4 or 5 months. And then we have a phone call, we talk about life, and then we schedule a visit, and he comes up with a little flash drive full of new music. And then we all just sit down and we listen to it, and it's the best. Okay, so I've got that cataloged, the looping. I guess I want to go to the main menu. Do I want to go to the main menu? Let me add that to Jenny's list. Loop the music on the main menu. At least we'll get that one. That one should definitely be looping. Okay. I'll leave that there. Okay, make sure Etchery is called the same thing. School of whatever. Okay, that one Jacqueline definitely wrote. I'm going to put it in her list. Heck yeah. Okay, add options to go back through Bristlecone's original convo to ask about a tree. To ask about, okay, I don't really know what that is, but I'm sure Jacqueline will, so I'm going to give that to her. Okay, clicking A on Leafkin wasn't interacting, and this is at 19 minutes. Oh, we weren't actually recording, so I will honestly have no idea I don't think I'll be able to repro that, unfortunately. That's a really annoying one, though. Let me change the game into developer settings. Just wonder, is something stealing the interaction? Look at that cute squirrel. Like I've barely seen the squirrels because I just have not tested the game that much in fall. See what's going on here with the. Okay. Okay. Oh, hey, Wade lady. Thanks for dropping by the stream. Good to see you. Oh yeah, we're fixing things. We're burning down to-do lists. Okay, so that worked. Wade lady, everyone, is I think like most like an indie game variety streamer. Is that the kind of stuff you do? Great streamer. She played Eastshade way back, which we very much appreciate. A friend of the stream, you could say. So I'm clicking spacebar around here. So we just noticed that when Will played the game, he had the tree highlighted and he was interacting, but it wasn't talking to the tree. And then he was like, huh, that's weird. I guess this doesn't do anything. And he moved on. But it does do something. And that's really bad because when a player, you know, thinks that something's going to do something and then they try to do it and then it doesn't do it, they're like, okay. And they meant to make a mental check and then they move on. But then it's really bad because you're like, no, it does do something and you need to go back there. So we're kind of like breaking their trust when that happens. So we're just trying to repro why it didn't talk to the tree. But for me, it's working. So I don't know. I guess I'm just going to leave that hanging out. I'm going to leave that bug hanging out. And if we see it again, it's one of those bugs. If we see it again, we'll look more into it. But for now, I'm just going to leave it because I don't even have a starting point. Okay, walked through Leafkin's roots. That we can definitely do better on. Let's, actually, I'll put that card. I'll put that as a card. Walked through Leafkin's roots, and then I'll handle that. Oh yeah, I've got the craziest schedule in the world right now. Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. Okay, good to know, Grace. Good to know it worked for you. So I'm gonna check out the collision on the tree. I'm just gonna sort of walk around the base of the tree and see how messed up it is, because the player should not be able to walk through the roots. Okay, so that's definitely a problem. And then on that side too. Okay, so I'll just put two little kind of wings in the collision. Make sure you can't walk through. Waffle, hello. It says, what platform are you streaming on? Where's the chat you're talking to? I'm streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, which I know is kind of weird. Hopefully you guys can see the messages on screen from both platforms. But most of the messages coming in are from Twitch. All right, so I'm gonna add little boxes. Yeah, I know it's kind of a weird party when, you know, people can't see all the messages. One of the downsides to multi-streaming, but I think my stream is small enough to where it makes sense. You know, if I'm gonna have like 10 people watching on YouTube and 15 people watching on Twitch, well, that like doubles my count right there. So a lot of people that would be missing out on the stream if I didn't multi-stream. Okay, good. I'm just gonna put a little wing of collision here so the player doesn't bump into these roots. Yeah, if I had my druthers, then it would just be one platform where everything is, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, we do really well on YouTube. We do actually probably better on YouTube than we do on Twitch. So I don't want to leave that community behind. Although I'm pretty sure our YouTube audience does not particularly come for the live streams, but maybe they do. I actually have no idea. I really don't know. I don't understand our own audience at all. I don't know who watches this stuff. I don't know if it's mostly developers or mostly people who want to play the games. I'm just going to call these Cole. And leave it like that. I'm going to go ahead and save the scene there. Let me catch up. Zons, hello and welcome. Says, I'm wanting to build a game in some sense similar to yours, programmer by trade, but having a hard time nailing an idea. I like RPGs, but really am just focused on rendering / shaders. I don't know how to convert to an actual game. I'm running up dry when it comes to game ideas. Any tips? Have you had similar struggles? I can't say that we struggle. I mean, I can't say that we struggle with game ideas or ideas for content or anything like that. It feels like we could brainstorm forever on that. Between Jacqueline and myself, I mean, we're both kind of artsy people. Like both have art backgrounds, and we also both like the same kind of games and stuff. So yeah, we've never had a problem coming up with ideas and ideas for content. It also helps that our games take 5 fucking years to make, because that's a long time to build up inspiration for for our next thing. But rendering and shaders, that's just one part. That's just one piece of the puzzle there. So, there's a lot of other parts to making the game. Oil Scent, thank you very much for the follow. I really appreciate it. I'm always surprised to hear that it's interesting. So I appreciate that, Wade lady. Zon says, like everything I can come up with, just basic turn-based RPGs, etc. Nothing really original. Gotcha. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the trick to coming up with things. I don't know if I'm that good at coming up with things either. I mean, the pitch for Eastshade when I first quit my job to make Eastshade, I just wanted to make the coolest place ever. That was it. It wasn't like, oh, I have this idea for like a painting game. No. It was just, I want to make a place where you go. I want to make like another Elder Scrolls world that you can roam around, but I want it to be nice. And I don't want everyone to be a dick to you like they are in Elder Scrolls. Everyone is just a massive asshole. They're just like, get out of my way. Or like, what do you want? I wanted it to be nice, and I wanted a game loop that wasn't about killing stuff. Those are my only requirements. And actually, the stuff that I came up with for Eastshade at the beginning was terrible. I won't go on too big of a tangent. But eventually, Jacqueline figured out the painting loop. She came up with it, and that was a couple years into production, and it just sort of made everything fit together. So yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. Nick Caston said, I struggle with ideation a lot. The book, A Whack on the Side of the Head, helped me. Interesting. Okay, good book recommendation there, Zons, if you want to check it out. Zons asked, did you know it would be successful? You went big into not having combat, which is a risk. A good place to start is bashing together random words and forcing yourself to come up with setting mechanics. Yeah, maybe that could be a good way to brainstorm stuff. So as for Zon's question, did you know it would be successful? Eastshade Studios games they do not have hooks. Like, they really don't. I guess Eastshade kind of ended up with something kind of like a hook, like play as a traveling artist. But that in and of itself is not that much of a hook. So no, we didn't know that it would be successful from the idea for the game. All I knew when I started eShade was I looked at all of the games that come out, and I looked at all the games that people buy, and I was like, I could fucking mop the floor with all these. Like, I could make a game that was like at least more beautiful than all this stuff. And I think I could make a world that felt more real than all these things. And I just personally love game worlds that feel like places. And I didn't like do any market research or anything. If other people did, it just so happened that my taste has an audience. It doesn't have a big audience. So as to your question about the risk factor of removing combat, I know for a fact, if eShade had combat, it would have made way, way, way more money. To this day, I know that for sure. I believe eShade would have made 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. I believe it could have easily done those numbers if it had combat. But instead, it made like 3.5 million. And I absolutely think it's because people don't really know what the game is. They know that it doesn't have combat, and they're like, well, what do you do? Oh, I don't really know. Is it like a walking sim? I don't know if that's my cup of tea. And then they move on. I think the game might have broader appeal if people actually knew that there was, a bit more to grab onto there with the quests and stuff, but that's okay, because I mean, we don't want to make a game with combat, so there's nothing we can do. But yeah, definitely, if you have the ability to make a super high fidelity, beautiful looking RPG, if you put combat in it, it's going to sell better than if you don't put combat in it, for sure, no doubt about that. Thank goodness for Jacqueline. Absolutely, thank goodness for Jacqueline. I agree. Okay, sorry guys, I've been gabbing here. Zon said, did you do a lot of marketing for the game? We did all the normal things. We didn't do anything weird or guerrilla. Just your normal press releases. We took everything very seriously. Like, we took our announcement very seriously. We took our beats very seriously. We took our release date announcement, came with a trailer, and we sent a press release for that. Like, we took it very seriously, and we treated the game like a big deal. And I think that's actually something that a lot of indies don't do. They're just like, all right, I'm going to put my Steam page up. And they don't really treat it with the seriousness and the planning I think that is required to really get people excited about the game. But mostly, I just think eShade just looks, it's a visual hook. People look at it and they're like, that's really cool. What is that? And it's really hard to get there, right? Like, my background is AAA environment art. I like to think I'm pretty good at that. And I don't think a lot of people have access to that. And it would be pretty hard to hire someone who did it. It would cost a lot of money to do it. So I think that gives us a huge advantage. And now with Glimmerwick, it's the same thing. It's a different vibe. I mean, it's visually different, but it's still, is visually, it's an expensive looking game. And I think that helps us a lot. Okay, so I put some little collision stumps on the bottom of the tree. Let's go. Let me test it. Yeah, and then you also have combat to worry about, like Alsen says, which people are very picky about. It's very hard. Okay, that feels a little bit better. Okay, it's weird that you can see her feet under the tree. I'm going to extend the collision back a little bit, just so that doesn't happen, because this is floating too much. I'll fix that. All right, well, I'm glad. I'm always glad to hear, glad to hear you dig the non-combat Wade lady, and I'm very glad you dig the non-combat as well, Oil Scent. Yeah, I love serving that community, right? Because that's me too. Like, Elder Scrolls are my favorite games, but the thing I like about them is not combat. Actually, I'm playing Oblivion remake right now, and I set the difficulty on the lowest. I just one-shot everyone. I effectively removed combat from the game, and the game has not lost anything for me. So, kind of the same way. And I just like to explore, what we can do with the medium. Because really, you can make a game loop about anything, right? I mean, if you can make a game loop about little round tiles moving on squares, which is checkers, you can definitely make a game loop about anything. You can make a game loop about being a street vendor for hot dogs. That would easy, no problem there. You can absolutely make a game loop, a deep, cool, engaging, fun game loop about that or anything else you can think of. So I don't really know why every single game, well, obviously not every single game, but I don't know why we have so many games about combat. So I just am interested in exploring the oceans outside of that. And I'm very glad that there are people who are into that as well, into playing those kinds of games. Zons asks if there's combat in Glimmerwick. There will not be combat in Glimmerwick. There will never be combat in any Shade Studios game. Never. All manner of things. There might be, shopkeeping. There might be being a merchant, buying and selling. There might be setting up trade routes. There might be fishing. There might be anything you can think of. There might be racing. There might be playing ping pong, but there will never be combat. Very much the manifesto for our studio. Gray says, would it be easiest if I copy pasted my comment from Discord into feedback form, or just mentioned these things which I already mentioned in the Discord? I guess it depends on how much. Oh, right. No, if you put it in the Discord, it's okay. The feedback form is more for like higher level general impressions. But if you want if they were like your big issues, then you could just give like a really light summary, and that thing I mentioned in the Discord about X. I don't even remember what it was. I've read like probably 700 different feedback items in the last week. But then I'll be able to see it when I'm going through the feedback forms in a nice organized way, if that makes sense. Fafa says, do you ever have to compromise to make your game family friendly, as in avoiding themes of alcohol, gambling, etc.? We did have issues like that in Eastshade, where we had a couple quests that were a little bit iffy. There was one quest we ended up taking out of the game post-release. It was a really hard quest to find, and I don't think that anybody played it, or maybe if anyone did, they never mentioned it or posted it on social media or anything. But about 4 days after the game launched, Jacqueline told me at like 4 a.m, she's like, that one quest in the game, look at all the stuff people are saying. People are saying it's therapeutic. People are saying it's so nice. People are saying they're playing it to heal their anxiety and their depression and stuff. You have to take that quest out. It does not fit. And I was like, no, but it's a cool quest. And she was like, you have to take that quest out. It is completely different than everything else in the game. And I did. I took it out in like 2 hours. I took it out and pushed the update silently. Didn't mention that I had removed it. And it's gone. And I'm glad I did, because it didn't fit in the game. So I guess, yeah, most of our quests don't really involve things that are, too adult, but we also don't have to try that hard to be family friendly. We're just all sunshine and rainbows naturally, so it just kind of works. Let me get to the next bug here. Okay, walk through leaf, so that's done. Oh yeah, I get to check that off. Walk through the roots. Oh, let me go to the top of the list here. There we go. Check that off. Let me get to the next one. Okay. Amka's animation was weird, and she left her arms up. Just remove it. Cool. On Amka intro, easy. Let me do that. Oh, and the wayfinding. Okay, got it. I remember that. Perfect. That's perfect. Thank you. Thanks so much, Grace. Appreciate that. So we're going to Amka. I believe Amka intro. Probably Amka intro conversation. I'm going to check that conversation out. So there's this little animation, and it just looks bad. I'm just going to remove it. It just looks weird. just saw it in the playtest, so I'm just gonna remove it. I'd rather have her be still like a statue than do a weird animation that draws attention to itself. Easy. I'm gonna put that in. I'm gonna put it in my Trello just so I can cross it off, because I get dopamine when this right here, this act I'm doing on the screen where I just drag this Trello card into the done. I get a little hit of dopamine every time I do that, so I don't want to, even though it took like 2 minutes to fix, I don't want to deny myself that. Wait, lady says, speaking of bugs, I had a weird one in my last Eastshade playthrough. The storyteller each night kept telling the same story. Yeah, I've heard about that one a few times. That's a bummer. I do not know what causes that, and we have not been able to reproduce it. So that one's just kind of gone to the graveyard of things that we probably won't fix, which is a bummer. Makes me sad. Name of NPC, Brick Alley Citizen. Let me look at that in the localization sheet. I can't remember. Are we actually naming these people? I don't know. I don't know if we're actually naming these NPCs. I think we are. So Brick Alley Citizen. Let me go ahead and check the loc sheet. Check out the loc sheet and take a peek and see if we have Brick Alley Citizen. Okay, so we do have a slot to name it. That's cool. Oil Scent says, I'm not sure if you remember, but I emailed you back in 2020 asking for advice on the gaming industry, and you gave me some advice. I'd just like you to know that my best friend and I are actually starting our first game. Hey, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Well, I'm very excited for you, and I wish you the best of luck on your journey. Could be coincidence, but I was playing on my Steam Deck at the time. No, I've seen it on PC. Yeah, it's not related to the Steam Deck, unfortunately. I don't know what causes it. Okay, Brick Alley Citizen. So I get to look at the other names here and see. Yeah, so we're really not naming these people. I don't know what to call Brick Alley Citizen. I think we need that to be a discussion card. I'm going to make that a discussion card. For this list, I have are things that we need to talk about. Like just Jacqueline and I, we just sit down and we just go through these items and we just talk about them, and then we kind of come to some conclusion, and then we write in the comment of the card what we concluded, so that next time we see it, we know what kind of actual call to action to do for it. Some NPCs don't have names. Like, yeah, like Brick Alley Citizen. And there's another one. There's another one that doesn't have a name. I'll just say, in some of the second years. Should we give everyone a name? What should we call these people? What should their name tag be? Save. Okay, got that. Looks, I'm going to be right back in just 1 minute. Okay. Hey, rock on, Oil Scent. I'm glad you're making another game about something other than combat. Always love to hear it. My baby boy, he's so weird. Sometimes he wakes up in the night, and just now he said Frog and Toad, and this is a book, and I just put the book in the crib, and I tell him to go back to sleep. And he just goes back to sleep. He literally just wants the book in his crib. He doesn't look at it. He doesn't want me to read it to him. He doesn't want to read it. He just physically wants the object in his crib. And for some reason that makes him feel better. And sometimes he requests a book that is like downstairs or something. And then I just go and get it and put it in his crib, and I say, okay, good night, go to sleep. He goes back to sleep. So weird. Grace says, offer suggestions, very self-centered. You could name them after your early beta testers, both to give the testers and less brain work for you guys. That'd be interesting. But we're far too pretentious for that. We get too fussy about the name fitting in the world and stuff. You see, we're very pretentious artists like that. Yeah, Frog and Toad, man, those are the best. Those books are the best. Okay, NPC name of Brick Alley Citizen. All right, that's fine. I'll leave that as a card. Let's move on. Okay, make cup and kettle notes. Have a version that is easy to read. Okay, well, I'll put that on the list. Localize. Button to localize readables. Just a button that brings up a plain text version of the readable in a basic font. That's going to be kind of tricky, especially for the ones that have pages. But anyhow, it's got to be done, so it's on the list. At least it's on the list. I can get it out of my brain. Couldn't access buttons above items. This one has been fixed, as far as I know. So I'm going to delete that one. Okay, remove RB option in map so players don't see options for world map. Yeah. So that one is like, it's one of those things. It's just left in there because we haven't finished it yet, but so many people are reporting the bug. Sometimes we just have to fix something temporarily just so that people stop reporting it. Because the problem is, if we get too many reports, the more reports we get, the more it obfuscates the other reports. So just in the interest of keeping our reports clean, sometimes we've got to fix things like this. We just look at the map. The world map here. This is the Griffin map. Okay, let's see. Here's the map. I don't see the RB. There's some other map in the game. Oh, that's not it. Huh. I don't actually know what map is showing. Let me see if I can check it out. What does a dyslexia text option do? Maps. Okay, so here's the RB. It's not the Griffin map that's showing up. It's some other map. What map is it? Let me go into the game here. Here we go. Okay, so it's in maps. It's literally a readable called maps. Now at least I know where to look. I don't actually remember how the world map is designed, but at the very least, I could just go into the maps prefab and remove that RB. Also, says prior to eShade Studios, was Jacqueline also in the game dev industry? No, she was an art teacher. She was an art teacher for like after school art programs. And then I quit my job and she started helping with the game, doing little things like UI art and stuff. And then she started helping more and more. She eventually learned Unity and started doing like mapping, like building out like areas of the game and stuff. And then she was eventually doing so much stuff that we thought that she should quit her job and go full time on the game. And then ever since then, she's been a game dev. So basically, I dragged her into this shit, which is very fun for me. And she's been enjoying it. So, and then of course, Songs of Glimmerwick now is her baby. Eastshade was my baby, and Songs of Glimmerwick is her baby. She pitched it to me one fateful day in a coffee shop. I think it was in 2016, and we decided that it was going to be our next game. She pitched it as a sort of Harry Potter farming sim, which was completely novel at the time she pitched it. I swear to God, it was like there was nothing like this. And then, of course, now we've seen many, 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 many games like that come out, or at least games that fit that roughly that description. And the game has evolved since then. But so she's the lead artist and lead designer and creative director of Songs of Glimmerwick. Grace says it turns all the text into a font style that helps people with dyslexia be able to read it with less brain confusion. Yeah, we should the localized text option, the font that it does should be one of the most readable fonts we can find. As readable as we can possibly make it. It'll be like a sans serif, readable font with perfect kerning and all that. So hopefully that will help. That's right. Okay, so this tutorial, I'm just going to remove that. And then there's the map tab for the world. I'm just going to remove that as well. And I'm just going to check that prefab out. Oops, no, turn off autosave. That's dastardly. Okay. And I'll just go ahead and make sure that that actually works and that I didn't break something. I'll clear out the console and go back into play mode. Okay, let's bring up the map. Okay, cool. That's fine. Groovy. Didn't bug out or anything. So, remove RB option. I'll put in this card temporarily removed button tut and world tab so as not to be confusing to testers. And I'll go put that in done. All right, the other thing I really wanted to do was there's a skip button in the intro for the game, and I would really like that little radial circle. I just need to do some work on it because it's supposed to be around the actual button, not in the middle of the screen. So let me grab my player, move them right here, and then I need to go get an Xbox controller in order to test this. Okay, I just gonna plug this puppy in. Okay, beautiful. So let me start up the game. And I'm just going to bring up that radial thingy that skips the intro. I'm like winded from running up the stairs. That's really sad. My house is kind of tall, but I feel like I shouldn't be without winded from running down and up the stairs just once. All right, here we go. Controller cursors. This is interesting. What's going on here? Controller cursors. Oh man, my baby boy is up. He's yelling. Really? It's not even 7 yet, dude. Are you serious? I'll go look at him on the baby monitor one sec, guys. Oh, whoops, I didn't put it on BRB. Well, that was dumb. Okay, let me catch up here. Even fonts that are super readable for the average person can cause trouble for people who have dyslexia. Dyslexia fonts tend to have a little bit of an odd weight. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, if we get reports from dyslexic people asking for it, then if we get enough of them, that's usually how we do it. But if we start putting features in speculatively on what we think people will want, then, well, this industry is very hard, so we tend to have to prioritize things with medical precision. Otherwise, we'll just never finish the game and run out of money, and then we'll never make another game again. So, okay, so unfortunately, I have to go. My baby boy says he's done sleeping. It's 6:50, but he waits for no man, and he's ready to go downstairs. So unfortunately, I have to run. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me. Sorry I couldn't stream a little bit longer. We were making such progress. And it's good to see you, Wade Lady. Thanks for dropping by, and thanks everyone for dropping by. And hopefully I'll catch some of y'all next time. All right, see ya.